I don't really remember when I started riding. It's more like, when didn't you ride, I guess. It was something that you did, like learning how to crawl and then walk, and I was just born to it.
Discover the rich history and diverse tapestry of horses in human culture with equestrian films, documentaries, training, education, art, and literature. Experience the EQUUS Film Festival at the World Equestrian Games from September 11th through 23rd in the EQUUS Theatre, or visit us online at filmfestivalflix.com.
The next film is starting in just a couple of minutes, and I wanted to just let you know that the filmmaker is here. So I wanted Matthew Handal to say a few words. It's Riding with Disabilities. It's a really fabulous film, but he'll be doing more afterwards. Just a very brief intro here now.
Yeah, well, hi everyone. Thanks for being here. As you said, the film is called Riding with Disabilities. It's a film about children that are empowered through therapeutic horse riding. What else could I say? Well, I think this film speaks for itself. For me, it started as a volunteer project. Originally, the director of the program wanted to make a short documentary to fundraise with, and I guess I heard about it. I'm an editor by profession, so it gave me a chance to shoot video, which I don't normally do, and to work with children and horses. So I volunteered, and then I got hooked. I got seduced, and I think you'll see why. Especially one of the kids that had cerebral palsy. It took such extraordinary effort for him to get on a horse that it moved me and made me think there was something bigger here. And this is, I hope, just the beginning. And there'll be PBS is interested in it, and I'm planning to expand on it. So if you feel free to come see me afterwards, and if you're interested in getting in touch with me, you can reach me Handal, Handal, at Riding with Disabilities, THISabilities.com. Okay, and maybe I'll see you afterwards. Thank you.
Enjoy the film.
Horses have this innate ability to bring out whatever you're feeling. I find it quite magical. I really find it quite healing.
Josue is my baby. 24 weeks pregnancy, cerebral palsy, 2 pounds, a very tiny baby when he's born.
I've known Josue since he's about 3 or 4 years old. Children can have cerebral palsy in different ways. He had a lot of low tone and weakness.
My son was diagnosed with autism when he was about 3.5 years old. You know, you feel like you lose your children when they're diagnosed with something like that.
Turn it off!
No.
Turn it off! Turn it off! Turn it off!
Lauren has been coming to Russ since she's 4 months old. Therapists recommend therapeutic horseback riding. She sat on that horse. She's listening to the commands. What she is physically getting out of this very first session is more than I've seen in many, many, many sessions of therapy.
I wish this program were available to all parents because it's done something wonderful for me and for my son and for my family.
Yes!
His behavior is more passionate now.
Did you have fun today?
Yes! Yes, I
Why?
did!
Why did you have fun?
I saw the progress. I saw a lot of progress because I passed many things. Now it's in college.
My name is Matthew A. Handal. I'm a native New Yorker, originally born in Brooklyn, but now live in Manhattan. I studied film at NYU, and for most of my career I've been working in post-production or editing. As the years passed, I still had the itch to make films, my own films, and that took the form of script writing. I wrote a couple of scripts. One was optioned, but unfortunately never made. But we got close. What else? So, and actually, after that project fell through, and actually it was the second project that fell through, I was looking for something else to do, and I had another project, anyway, long story short, that the person financing that pulled out, and during that time, I heard about a program, this therapeutic writing program, and they were looking for volunteers to help them make a short documentary to fundraise with. And so it sounded wonderful. I try to do volunteer work whenever I can. I find it very, very gratifying and fun. And in this case, it gave me the opportunity to shoot, because that's what he was looking for initially. He was looking for people to shoot this documentary. And because I'm an editor, I don't ordinarily shoot, so I thought, okay, that'll be fun. I'll get to shoot a little bit, and what else? And then, it was working with horses and working with kids. What was not to like? I had the time, and it fit my schedule, and so I volunteered to do it, along with 6 other women. That's what the crew was initially, and I knew nothing about therapeutic horse riding, to be frank with you, and I only learned from doing this. And then once I started working on this, I realized how magnificent it was, how powerful it was, and how moving, and how much it helped these kids. And there was one kid in particular who had cerebral palsy and used a walker that exerted took so much effort for him to get across the dirt stable floor and to go onto a mount and get put on a horse. That's really what solidified it for me. That's what hooked me. And I felt like that there was more than just a short documentary about this program that he was going to use for fundraising, that there was a potential for a larger piece. In any event, the director of the program knew nothing about filmmaking, and like most activities, you need a center of gravity. You need someone to manage the project. You can't just have people running around willy-nilly shooting. Nothing really gets done. And so for a variety of reasons, he kept asking me to produce this piece. Maybe in part because I had the most experience, but that was a little bit more than I planned to do. Shooting one day a week is one thing. Producing is a whole other ball of wax. But eventually, I relented and agreed to do it. But in doing it, I also had my own agenda, and that was to shoot as much as I could with the eye towards making a longer piece, and getting as much information, not only of the program, but of the families in the program, of the people involved in the program, the staff, the trainers, the physical therapists, the volunteers, supporters of the program, some of the politicians. We interviewed the commissioner of sports. We interviewed the commissioner of people with disabilities. We interviewed councilmen. Even some people that were donating money. And what else? And then, of course, I suggested we go to the homes of these people and learn about them, and how this program, why they decided to do this, participate in the program, how it came about, and how it's helped them, and also to learn a little about their lives, and the impact that it had on them. And finally, I interviewed some of the health professionals, the physical therapist. There were, I think, 3 different physical therapists that worked with them. One with the program specifically, and 2 with one of the local hospitals. And finally, I interviewed the doctor that some of these kids were the patient of, and that was I think an important interview. And none of this came easy all the time. For instance, the doctor, it took me a year to get that interview, and it wasn't because she didn't want to do it. It was because the hospital that she worked for didn't want to do it. Was afraid of doing it. Didn't want to risk the liability. Was afraid something would happen. Something, and finally, after a year of back and forth, they agreed, and I had to sign a 10-page contract for a half-hour interview. But it was a wonderful interview. And anyway, that's some of the backdrop for this film, which I think tells an important story. It tells the story about empowering children with disabilities, but it could be anyone. It could be anyone with a disability, and that's really kind of a metaphor for all of us. If the most vulnerable, if we could help the most vulnerable, and if they could, make the effort, then we could help anyone, and we should, and hopefully will devote more resources to what I think probably the most important thing we could do as a society is helping us help ourselves. And it's not always, if you don't have the resources or the background, the education, sometimes you need a little nudge and maybe a little money. And that's what government is for, I believe. Government and people of goodwill. well, I'll get off my soapbox, but I think we as a country need to devote more resources to helping people. Helping people help themselves. My documentary is called Riding with Disabilities, and I end the film saying that we need to help people so that everyone could ride to their abilities. And if we do that, we'll be a better country and a richer country.
Are there any particular stories or any particular connections between kids and horses that stood out to you as very tight, or did the kids ride the same horse every time? It seemed like they did.
Oftentimes they did. Oftentimes the kids did ride the same horses, and they developed a relationship with that horse. Or if they didn't, they had a favorite horse. And even into the later in the film, when I interviewed them as young adults, they still remembered Patches. They still remembered, I can't think of the name, but the particular horse. And these horses are so empathic. They develop a relationship with the kids. They pick up the emotions of the kids. They pick up the movement of the kids, of people, and I guess it goes both ways. The kids then feel, as this relationship develops, they feel more confident, more capable, and they're having fun. They're having fun. They're doing things that ordinarily would only be done in a clinical setting, and which is not, believe it or not as effective and certainly not as fun. It's a very different thing to do some of the exercises that one needs to do in a hospital than doing it in a therapeutic riding setting. Zach, one of the kids in the film, was autistic. When I met him, he wasn't exhibiting the worst traits, but his mother talked about it. In fact, at one point, the doctors basically told her that she should institutionalize him and take him out only on weekends. She refused to do that, and with great effort and the help of professionals and medication, she was able to start bringing him back to the child that she knew and loved. And then he took part in this program, and he wasn't as very verbal, and certainly was more introverted. And as a result of this program, he started to come out of that shell. There was one girl in the program that he developed. It was almost like a relationship with, and it was so interesting because she was outgoing and a caretaker at heart. Her mother had MS, so she just had that ability, and her and Zach became fast friends. I used to tease them. I used to say, "Is this your girlfriend?" Because they were inseparable, and that relationship and the relationship with the staff and the horses over time really transformed him, and it was remarkable, and it was so it had an impact. Not only was it important for him, but it had an impact on everyone: his teachers, his social worker, his doctors, his parents, society. Because now he's getting better, so we don't have to spend the resources to as much resources to rehabilitate him, so to speak, or institutionalize him, which are very expensive. Hosaway was another one. He had cerebral palsy, very different. His disability was physical, but through and he was also shy. But he became less shy over the course of the program. It was a 12-week program, but not more importantly, in addition to that, he was able to stretch muscles that he couldn't use in any other way, I guess the biggest thing for him was strengthening his core, and this became very important because the stronger he became, the more independent he became, psychologically and physically, and was able to do things on his own instead of needing help from his parents or friends or whatever. And ultimately became a productive part of society. He just graduated from college with starting a master's in social work, and he learned and also he learned sign language because he wants to work with people that use sign language. Excuse my, my brain farts, so to speak. I think I don't know. I mean, but are you? Oh, so you're not hearing it? Are you seeing it on the meter?
I'm seeing this meter is just kind of there, but my meter
is it good?
Is good. Yeah.
So you're getting it here, and then, do you see a meter on that? Yeah. And how does it look?
It's good.
Oh, okay. So
it's not also metering anything else.
well, you are going to get some of the ambience, but because I'm speaking to this, it should be fine. But I mean, if you want to ask me more questions.
No, that's great. That's great. Is there anything else you'd like to say about your project and the effect that it's had on you?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think that's a great question. I think I think Obama said something in one of his inaugural addresses about us becoming more serious, or it's time to. It's a biblical, not admonition, suggestion, and I think that in part has had. That's the kind of effect it's had on me. I think I see life a little differently, and it's made me more empathetic and more compassionate and less interested in some of the superficialities of life, which can be a little disconcerting, and not to say that I've turned into a grouch or a boring person, or but I feel like I have more of a mission in anything I do. And actually, the truth is, I've written scripts, and one of my scripts was a comedy. Actually, my natural voice is I would say a comedy drama in voice, I mean, in tone, the way I see life. But I'm also trying to say something. It's about life and yeah, that's. Yeah, sure. You are quite welcome. My pleasure.
So this round pen is not a round pen, but it's a moment in time. And to me, this is not a horse, but infinite possibilities. This is a metaphor of your significant other, your co-workers, life and death. So in helping the horse, because he's a pre-animal, he's going to react immediately to my actions, letting me know what habits are beneficial or not.
Working with the horses have helped my self-confidence because through my middle school years, I was bullied, and I've learned from the horses that I am who I am. Like, they don't judge me for the things that I have wrong because everyone has things wrong. Even the horses. We have horses here that are blind, some are deaf, some are overweight. So I feel like you take what you have and you run with it.
These ponies have an amazing ability once you gain their trust. They care for you, they believe in you, and they look for you for leadership. When someone's looking for you for leadership, you can't fail them. And that's an amazing thing. You stop worrying about yourself.